All right, today we're going to look at measures of central tendency and variation. So we're going to start and do just a little couple days on some statistics that you have seen in the past and maybe a few things that are a little bit new. So we're going to start with measures of central tendency, which are things like the mean, median, mode, are the three most common. That's what we're going to do our concentration on today. So just a reminder of what all these are. The mean is the sum of our data divided by the number of data values. And then our mode is the number that occurs the most often. It is possible that there is no mode, or there could be more than one. If two numbers are listed like 3 times each, then there could be more than one. If everything's only listed once, then there's no mode. And the median is our middle number when the data, is ordered from smallest to largest. So when we have data sets, we can find all these, and then we also could possibly have things called extreme values. Extreme values is a number that is much greater or much smaller than the rest of our data. And extreme values will affect our mean. They don't do anything to our mode and median because we're not taking the average. We're not adding, we're just finding a number in their data set. But the mean, if we have an extreme value that's really large, it's going to raise it. One that's really small, it's going to make our mean smaller, so it can really affect what's going on. So if we have extreme values, we don't want to use the mean to represent our data. So we're just going to do a few examples of finding our mean, median, and mode. So if we look at what we have going on here and we want to find our mean, so to find our mean right here, remember our mean was all of our values added together, so we're going to add all these together using our calculator. We can add all our values, and then you divide by how many there are. So we have 5 values, so we would divide by 5. So if we add all of our values up, use our calculator, put this in parentheses if you're doing it all in once, divide by 5, you should get 40 in your calculator for your mean. Okay, for our median, remember our median, our numbers have to be in order from smallest to largest. Well, if we look up here at our data set, all of our numbers are already in order from smallest to largest. So it's just the middle number. So since I have 5 numbers, my median is just this middle number right here, 41. And then our mode is the number that occurs the most often. So if I look at all of my data sets on here, 43 occurs twice and it's the only one. So our mode would be 43. So there's our mean, our median, and our mode. Okay, how about another one? We're going to do the same thing. This time we have numbers, they're decimals. That's perfectly fine if we have decimals. So our mean, again, we need to add all of these up. 2.3 plus 3.6. So in your calculator, you will add all your values together. It will take time, add them all together, divide by how many do we have this time? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 values this time. Add them all up and divide by 8, and you would get 3.1125 is exactly what your calculator says. If a worksheet tells you to round, go ahead and round. Sometimes it will tell you to round to the nearest tenth. So if it does that, remember that's 1 decimal place, so round if it tells you to. Our median. Well, our median, we have to put all of our data in order from smallest to largest. It's not this time, so we need to rearrange it. So if we rearrange this, our smallest is 2.3. So we can kind of mark them off as you use them up here. So 2.3, and we have 2 of those, so we have to list both of them. Then we have 2.9, and then we have 3, 3.1, we have a 3.6, and we actually have 2 3.6s right here, and then a 4.1. So we need to find the middle number. There's 8 of them, so there's not a number exactly in the middle like there was before. So when there's not one exactly in the middle, when you have an even number, you find the 2 middle numbers. So in our case, the 2 middle numbers would be 3 and 3.1. So then to find the median, you take those numbers, 3 plus 3.1, and divide by 2. So an even number of data values, take the 2 middle ones, add them together, divide by 2, and we would get 3.05. So there's our median. And last, we need our mode, which is the one that occurs the most often. Well, if we look up here, I have two 2.3s and two 3.6s. So my mode is 2.3 and 3.6. Remember, it's okay to have more than one. Okay. Here, we're going to find some information and then answer some questions about it. So in 10 basketball games, Terry scored the following points. We want to find the mean, median, and mode. So we're going to find each of these. Pause, see if you can figure out what each of these are, the mean, the median, and the mode. Right, put your numbers in order, add them, take some time, make sure you can get the right answer. Not sure why I wrote equals twice right here, but so if you find this, you should get a mean of 11.3. Your median is going to be 8.5, and there is no mode. All of our values only happen one time, so therefore you would have no mode on that. Okay, and then it wants to know, is there an extreme value, and how does it affect our mean, median, and mode? So is there extreme value? So if we look at our data values up here, these are all pretty close to being together, right? But then I have this big 32 out here. So it's much larger than all my other data. So yes, there is an extreme value. And it's the number 32. And it's much larger, right? So remember I told you before what the extreme value is not going to do anything to a median. This would always be stays the same. And our mode isn't going to change. Whether I take that value out or leave it, it stays the same. Okay, whether that number was supposed to be 2 or supposed to be 3, it would not change our median in there, but it'd still be our middle value. So for the mean, since this value is much larger than our others, this makes our mean larger. So adding a large number makes your mean larger. Adding a smaller number would make it smaller, and we're going to say it's not going to affect our mean and median, and our mode. If it does, it is by a very small amount, not anything that's worth worrying about. So that's our measures of central tendency. So for our measures of variation, measures of variation, so this is going to be things like our range. We're going to look at some quartiles, some different things that you may not have always looked at. So for measures of variation, one of the ones I'm going to ask you to find is the range. The range is the difference between the greatest and least values. It's just subtraction. Take your largest number, subtract your smallest number. Then we're going to have what is called quartiles. These are values that divide the data into 4 equal parts. So when we divide our data into 4 equal parts, we're going to have what we call the lower quartile. This is the median of our lower half of our data. You can abbreviate it with a capital LQ right here. You're going to have your median, which we just looked at how to find a few slides ago. And you're going to have what is called an upper quartile. And this is the median of our upper half of data. You can call it capital UQ as we're abbreviating it. And then you'll be asked to find the interquartile range. The interquartile range is the range of the middle half of a set of data. So our interquartile range is you're going to take your upper quartile and subtract your lower quartile, the difference between the two. So you can abbreviate interquartile range with IQR, and it's just your upper quartile minus your lower quartile. So let's look at some examples of finding this. So here we're going to find our range, our quartiles, and our interquartile range of this set of data. So let's just start with our range. So remember, our range is our largest minus our smallest. Well, our largest value up here is 91. Our smallest value is 38. So subtracting those, I get 53 for my range. Okay, so there's our range. Then let's find our quartiles, because we have to have those before we can find the interquartile range. So to find quartiles, again, we have to have our data in order from smallest to largest. So let's do that first. So we have 38, 42, 51, 63, 79, and 91. So quartiles, excuse me, again, what we need to find is we need to find our lower quartile, we need to find our median, and we need to find our upper quartile. So when you find this, the first thing you need to find is your median. So look at your data, and we need to find our median to be able to split our data in half. So I have 6 data values. So to find our median, remember, we're going to take the middle 2 values right here. So our median is 51 plus 63 divided by 2. So our median is 57. That's where we break our data in half to find the median of our upper and lower quartile. So we're going to break this in half right here at 57. The median of our lower quartile takes this bottom half of data and finds the median. Well, there's only 3 data sets there, so the middle number is 42. Our upper quartile takes this upper numbers, there's only 3 of them, and finds the median. Our middle value is 79. So there's our upper quartile, lower quartile, and our median. And then our interquartile range. We subtract our upper quartile. So remember, it's our upper quartile minus our lower quartile. So this would just be 79 minus 42, which is 37. All right, let's look at one more and then we will be done. So here, 2, this is the problem number. It's not part of our data set. So we want to find all these. So let's see here. We're going to start with our range. Really doesn't matter which one you start with as long as you find everything. Our range is our largest value minus our smallest value. So this is going to be 32 is our largest, 2 is our smallest, so our range is 30. Then we're going to find our quartiles. So to find our quartiles, we have to put our data in order from smallest to largest, which it is not up here. So if we do that, we have 2, 12, we have 2 14s, 15, 17, 22, 24, 25, 27, and 32. So then again, remember, we want to find a lower quartile, we want to find our median, and we want to find our upper quartile. Find our median first. So if we look at how many data values we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, we have 11. So find our middle number. Our middle number is 17. That's our median. So when we split the data in half and the middle number is actually a data value, we actually are going to split it on this data value, and we're not going to include it in the lower or in the upper quartiles. So then for our lower quartile, we have our bottom half of data, which gives us 5 values. Okay, our middle number again here would be then 14 for our lower. Then we have 5 values for our upper. Our middle number is 25. So there's our quartiles. And then our interquartile range is 37 minus 11. So our interquartile range, whoops, not sure where I got 37 is not minus 11, just kidding. Our interquartile range is 25 minus 14. It's our 2 quartiles, which is 11. So you will be asked to do all this stuff on the worksheet. We'll review it a little bit when I get back to class next week. Have a great day.